So today we're going to talk about, just for a couple minutes, American Horror Story 1984, the 9th season in the long-running horror comedy anthology series on FX, and whether or not this series is going to continue the trend of its 8th season, American Horror Story Apocalypse, by doing crossovers between this story or continuations of other stories that they've already done within the long-running anthology. So buckle up, because I have a theory here and I would really like to see it play out based off of the idea that this season is going to be based around the slasher themes of the 1980s. Let's jump right into it. Hey YouTubers, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell over by the subscriber button to notify you every single time I upload. So if you've been on my channel for any real stretch of time, you know that I absolutely love American Horror Story Asylum. Now, I do love other seasons from this show. Obviously, Coven is one of the best ones. I like Roanoke a lot more than other people do. I even like Cult a lot more than other people do. And even Murder House has its good points. But to me, Murder House had too many ups and downs. They were trying to figure out what this show was and how it was going to play out. Coven for me just has a little bit too much comedy. I'll do a ranking video sometime in the near future, so just look forward to that. I'm not going to go too deep into all of this. Just really to say, American Horror Story Asylum, I feel, hit every single cylinder. They were on a roll. They knew exactly the story they wanted to tell, and they almost treaded on every single horror-related movie trope that you could think of. Slasher villains, aliens, demons, possession, angels, creepy house, creepy doctors, everything that they could have possibly done in one story they did in a solid 13 episodes. So one of the things I've been talking about is I love that season so much. I want to see them do it again. I want to see them tell a story surrounding American Horror Story Asylum's characters, or at least some of its themes, if not just reintroduce the aliens, to bring them back in season 10 and hopefully wrap everything up if American Horror Story is going to end around season 10. So what could that story be, and why is American Horror Story 1984 the perfect way to bring back American Horror Story Asylum? And I think the answer is fairly simple. We have the character Johnny Morgan, the biological son of Oliver and Lana from American Horror Story Asylum. Oliver being Bloody Face, the slasher villain that was introduced within that season. So I just want to walk you through some of the things that we learned about Johnny during that second season, not really knowing him until much later on in the season, and never really exploring his childhood, or at least his era around that point. So just to kind of walk through it. When we're finally introduced to Johnny within American Horror Story Asylum, he's telling his therapist about his childhood, how he went from foster home to foster home, developing habits of skinning animals, but ultimately leading to urges to skin and kill women. And one of the things that we learned about his character and the way that he interacted with people is he eventually went to prison, and that's where he figured out who his biological parents were, and the fact that he had to pick up his father's legacy as Bloody Face. One of the things that definitely gets us started for that entire season. So what can we build off of that? Well, Bloody Face was the first thing American Horror Story did to a slasher villain, and I feel like it would be fantastic to bring, maybe not Bloody Face himself, but bring back Johnny's character. Whether you say it's Johnny or not, bring his character back to be that slasher villain. Whether he understands who his father is or not, he's working through the urge. Or maybe just introduce a younger version of Johnny trying to figure out who he is in the world and dealing with his obsessions in a very methodical way by skinning animals and maybe going after a woman or two. All the while, there's another slasher or someone else in the background killing other people. As I said in one of my earlier videos, because we're dealing with the slasher genre, especially the 80s version of the slasher genre, this is a story where they can potentially pick up and use characters who are mortal, who are individuals, who can get hurt, who can die, and other slasher villains who have no chance of being killed. We have people who are more like Frankensteinian monsters who will continue to go after people, but people can get them. But the characters in the show can get them confused and not understand who's chasing them or what exactly is going on. I don't really know how this shakes up one way or the other, but I like the idea of introducing Johnny as one of the antagonists of this series. Maybe even one of the main characters, one of the protagonists that throughout this season and throughout everything that happens to him ultimately ends up leading him to jail and forces him in a situation where he has to learn who his father is, thus setting up the end events of American Horror Story Asylum, and maybe even tipping over some of the situations that led to Coven and Murder House and everything else like that, ultimately connecting all of these different seasons and pushing the story ever closer to an extended universe where every single story connects. All the characters who are still alive, or at least all the characters who've had any real prominence within this universe, have interacted in some way, shape, or form. Another thing I would really like to see from this season, just because we're going to be dealing with slashers, and I know a lot of people are going to jump at me and say aliens aren't slashers, but definitely reintroduce the aliens. I understand that aliens are not your typical Freddy, Jason, Michael, or anybody else related to that subgenre of horror, but this is the perfect place to do so. We have characters, we could potentially have setting, we have an era worth of movies that we can grab onto and use themes and ideas from, bringing back the aliens, bringing back probing, bringing back aliens hunting down people, and using all of those different themes and ideas from the broader spectrum of horror, not just slasher, and maybe just in a little bit in that sense, would really help explore the world of American Horror Story, connect everything going on in this season to things that happen in other seasons, and allow this world to expand in ways that could set up season 10, season 11, and season 12, or just however long they want to go. I guess another thing that they could possibly do that would help connect this season to any other season would be to mention the Freak Shows from season 4, because that did connect to American Horror Story Asylum, and it would help us understand the connection between all three. Of course, I feel like that would be just a little too small for what we would want from this season, but I wouldn't put it past them, because it would help this show connect with all the other series and help create the more extended universe of American Horror Story. To me, that would be incredibly exciting. I would love to see them do that with American Horror Story 1984, and I really want to hear everyone's thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Do you think this is something they should do with this season, connected to American Horror Story Asylum? Am I right? Am I wrong? Do you think that this is a good way to do it, whether it's with the aliens or whether it's with Johnny's character and setting up everything that happened at the end of American Horror Story with the evolution of how the new Bloody Face became the new Bloody Face throughout American Horror Story Asylum? Or is there a better opportunity or a better possibility to connect another season of American Horror Story? Like I said, I'm going to go back and try my best to watch almost everything before this season comes out, just so I can talk about this and theorize it at a much higher level than what I am now, just going off of the memory that I have watching it just a couple years back, and really hope everyone will go down and correct me and have just a legitimate conversation about this in the comment section below. I hope everyone is having a fantastic day. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell over by the subscriber button to notify you every single time I upload, because the closer we get to American Horror Story coming out, it's going to be pretty epic. We're going to have a lot of news rolling in the next couple months, a lot of opening pictures, and a lot of speculation as to what the story is going to be about. And some of our favorite actors who've been a part of this for so long, or people who haven't been a part of it for nearly as long. Who are they going to be playing? Where is it going to be set? What is the story going to be about? There's going to be a lot to speculate about this show and how it's going to progress and what it means for the future of the series. At the same time, I hope everyone would go down to the description section below. I hope you'd hit that link and go follow me on Twitter, because it's so much easier to talk to you guys on Twitter. No joke. Yes, I can talk to you guys on here. I do my best to respond to as many comments as possible and interact with you guys. But on Twitter, we can have a real legitimate conversation about American Horror Story, about the Saw franchise, Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, any horror-related movie context, concept, or any television show or anything. I just dwell in all of it. I love anything horror-related. Or we could talk about anime, Dragon Ball, Bleach, My Hero Academia, or anything else that I cover on my other channel. So it's just so much easier to just have a conversation with me over on that channel. At the same time, like I said, I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Don't forget to do all that stuff. It's been real.